Today, we'll be discussing the 2026 U.S. Olympic roster. I will give my team, and Rowan will give his team. And we will throw in a little bit of bits and bobs about other players and why we feel this way. So, without further ado, I will give my team. Line 1, Jack Eichel. Followed beside, on the left wing, New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes. With Matthew Tkachuk on the right wing. Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes. Cole Caulfield on the right wing. With Tage Thompson in the center. With Matt Boldy and Kyle Connor on the right wing. Dylan Larkin in the middle. And Brady Tkachuk on the left wing with Jake Gensel. My extras are Jason Robertson and Clayton Keller. How do you feel about this team, Rowan?
I'm intrigued. I just have only one question. Why the Jason Robertson snub?
The snub.
Snub.
The thing is, I feel about the RoboCop is that the RoboCop is inconsistent in the big moments. He's played time and time again against the Edmonton Oilers. He's hard to find. I don't really want a guy that's hard to find. I was actually debating taking him off the team entirely and just throwing Patrick Kane on there. Just get some leadership presence. Because Patrick Kane's a gamer. But I thought RoboCop deserves it because he's had 100 points in his career. And you're never leaving a guy with 100 points off your team. So that's why he's snubbed.
All right. That makes sense. Yeah. Do you have any other points you'd like to make?
The biggest thing on my team is that I split up the chunks. The thing I tried to go for with my team, so I have Jack Hughes, Eichel, and Matthew Tkachuk. I want to have a big guy on every single line. I dominate the guys like the Canadians and other teams. Just trying to have a big presence. So I have Tkachuk on my first line, Matthew Nyes on my second, and on my third line I have Tage Thompson, and I have Brady Tkachuk on my fourth line. So I just want to have a big guy, a big presence that's going to lay hits and be a game changer on my team.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, good to hear.
All right, you want to give your team, Rowan?
Sure, for sure. So, first line, as you mentioned earlier, you thought about the Kachucks, and your biggest point was keeping them apart. I decided to keep them together. So my line one is Jack Eichel, Kachuk, and Kachuk on both wings. I mean, just starting draw of the entire game, going down the wall. You got Eichel win the draw, tossed it in behind the D, and then you got either Kachuk just barreling down on you. That demon, he's checking his shoulders like he's got a missile coming at him, right? He's got to be scared for his life. You saw those big hits, the Kachucks laid in Four Nations. Obviously, Brady absolutely leveling Drew Doughty a couple times. Yeah, I think that's a real dangerous line. Line two, I actually went along the same lines as you. Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes together. Um, Once again, building that chemistry prior to the tournament is really important. Matthew Nyes has been dynamite for the Leafs this year and really stepped into a bigger role as a power forward and putting the puck in the net. Joined by your hot take, the RoboCop, Jason Robertson, line two. I can see the disappointment and disagreement on this guy's face. Jason Robertson this year, 40 points in 32 games, 20 goals, 20 assists. He's been dynamite for the. He obviously had a big night a week ago, and he's been dynamite this year. And as you said in our Canadian roster, you like guys that are hot. You like guys that are going. And over a point per game this year, Jason Robertson is one of those guys. So I have him up there. Line three, this is the line I'm worried about, and where I might switch things up. I've Jack Hughes, Kyle Connor, and Matthew Boldy. I debate hard. I don't know what to think about Matthew Boldy. I haven't, to be fair, I haven't watched a lot of Matthew Boldy film. But from what I've heard, he's a dynamite player. He's a bigger guy, and I mean, yeah, he's been showing up everywhere. So Matthew Boldy in there, and he was looking to be replaced by one of the other guys in my reserves, but I'll talk about that in a bit. My line for Tage Thompson, Jake Getzel, and Cole Caulfield. I just feel like Tage Thompson's a bigger presence in the middle, and Jake Getzel, Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield's got a scoring touch. Obviously, isn't the biggest guy, but Getzel's a mid-sized guy and can get in the corners. Tage Thompson, obviously, both him and Caulfield have dynamite shots, so we'll see how that dynamic works. Still, probably some serious tinkering needed to do with these lines. I'm not saying these are perfect by any means, but this is just the players who I got. My extras are Dylan Larkin, who I honestly don't believe should. I don't even know at this point. I don't know if Dylan Larkin should make the team, but I have him. And number two, who I debated to put into the lineups I have, is Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller this year has 28 points in 32 games. He's, I guess, an even zero on the plus minus. But I had him kind of fighting with Matthew Boldy on that line three with Hughes and Connor. My only gripe, I would say, is his size. Being only 5'10", 175-ish, that's a small line to have in a small ice surface. And when bodies are flying, when that intensity gets super high, it is really going to come down to who can take hits and make plays, right? So these guys get bodied off the puck, it's really tough. And I had the same sort of, I'd say, dilemma about Cole Caulfield too. Dynamite player. I mean, he's been fantastic for Montreal this year, but just the physicality. Cole Caulfield being even smaller than Keller, smaller than say Jake Getzel. It's gonna be really interesting to see how those guys adapt to the physicality.
Yeah. One thing I just want to throw in because I think this needs to be said about is your take about Dylan Larkin. Like,
Yep.
I was questioning putting Dylan Larkin on the first line. Like, Dylan Larkin is, if you watch him play, like, he is such a gamer. He's so underrated. I'll just kind of name off his points. He has 17 goals, 16 assists, and 33 points, and +8 on wings. So he's over a point per game and one. This guy is an absolute dog. I was listening to people talk about their Olympic lineups, and some people were discussing just just to get chemistry with Larkin. That's how good he is. Larkin is a pretty I believe is a pretty solid player in the Four Nations. One thing I just want to bring up is I kind of agree with you with the Matt Boldy take. I was like, I'm not high on him. I feel like he could have been taken off the team, and maybe I put RoboCop in there for him. Keller, I'm not like, I know he has the points, but he's a smaller guy. Like, they already have those guys in Jack Hughes, and I don't think he's needed. I think what they need is a guy like JT Miller, which I thought about. JT Miller is an absolute gamer. He was very solid there in the Four Nations. Yeah, I feel like they have too many of the same guys. Even on my team, on your team, on every team they're gonna have. They're just a lot of snipers. You have Cole Caulfield on your fourth line. I'm like, is he a fourth line player? He can't penalty kill. So fourth line guy is just gonna be out. Like, Cole, you need a guy that's gonna like hit and like score goals as well. And this U.S. team is too dominant to not have a guy that's going to make hits and score. Caulfield doesn't really do stuff like that. And I feel like there's a lot of those guys that are like just copy paste players. And I think that's one thing the U.S. is going to be challenged with when they made their team. And I think the four nations, they had too many of the same guys. They mainly just picked their guys off points, and that affected them. Now I think we're going to do our defense. So my defense is Quinn Hughes. This guy is unbelievable defenseman. He's an unbelievable skater. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Charlie McAvoy. Interesting. I not too high on McAvoy. I think he's a great defenseman. He was very, very good on the Four Nations. I'm not loving the U.S. defense. Like, when I have to throw him on the top line, I don't know how I feel about that. This guy, I think there's the next player might be their best player in big moments, and that's Jacob Slavin. This guy is incredibly underrated, incredible player, incredible hockey IQ. Some say he plays just like Rowan Duke out there. Next guy is Adam Fox. Not too high on Adam Fox. He just makes the team because he's Adam Fox, and he gets a lot of points. Next guy, this guy should not be on the third line. He might be their best defenseman. He could probably be anywhere in the lineup. He needs to be in the lineup. Zach Ferensky. Great player. Great guy, I hope. Next guy, John Carlson. Leadership, experience, age, gamer. That's why he's on the team. Extras. Just young dogs that can put the puck in the net. Sanderson and
Yeah. Jake Sanderson, I don't know how I feel about him. He obviously came in for the U.S. last at Four Nations and scored. Right? Played a big part there. So, yeah, we'll see what he does. I personally did include him, but it's really tight, and there's no guarantees here. My defense, I went in a similar direction as you in my top pairing, Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy. Quinn Hughes is so dynamic, so puck dominant, and Charlie McAvoy showed not only in the Four Nations but in league play, he's a physical beast. I mean, we saw before getting, I believe he was injured during Four Nations. He was probably the U.S.'s biggest body before Brady Tkachuk. I mean, he absolutely tossed McDavid, I think, twice in the same game. In that first game, really set the tone there for the U.S. And yeah, he's a really solid two-way defenseman. So I feel like to balance out the Quinn Hughes dynamic playmaking, it's really important. Line 2, he is injured right now, but he has resumed skating. As Caden said, really one of the most valuable players that the U.S. had during Four Nations. Jacob Slavin looked fantastic. He has returned skating. He's playing non-contact so far, but it is looking promising for him to be there at the Olympics. Obviously, with that stellar performance in Four Nations, he's done himself quite well, and even without these stats this year, being injured and all, he really deserves to have a chance there to earn his spot or hold his spot for what he's done. And paired with him, playing the wrong side, is Zach Werenski. I feel once again the argument that these guys are going to play whatever position they can to get on this team. Zach Werenski is such a dynamic defenseman, and it really runs the offense for that Columbus team. I feel he's another good pair with his partner. I mean, Slavin is long stick, good stick. He can break out passes and plays quite easily, whereas Werenski obviously uses his elite skating and footwork to get out of spots and create offense. So I feel that's another great pairing. And third pair, I have Jake Sanderson and whoever steps up. I have no clue. I have no clue who to put with Jake Sanderson. You got names, right? You got Brock Faber, John Carlson. All right, like I'm not loving that 5-6 defense spot. I mean, yeah, Adam Fox, I guess, right? None of those guys are having stellar years. John Carlson is probably my top pick. Obviously, those two would have to work out sides and who's playing which side, but John Carlson obviously has experience on the Capitals. He's played in some big games and he knows how to work it around. Plus, he's a big body in the small ice, right? Brock Faber is also a pretty solid guy, and I mean Adam Fox is a little bit smaller, so yeah, I think I would go with John Carlson.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was a very great point about the 5 and 6 defensemen. I think Canada is much deeper than them in this sense. Yeah. Um, I do think though that Zach Ferensky and Jacob Slavin are incredible defensemen. And the one thing I'm gonna say here, um, I'm a Canadian hockey fan, and if there was one guy that I might want to buy off the US, it's gonna be Jacob Slavin. Just from his performance in the Four Nations. Like, wow. I have some new respect for him. He is an incredible hockey player. Kids, when they go to the outdoor rink, I go to the outdoor rink quite often, and they're like, oh, I want to shoot like Bedard. I want to be like McDavid. I want to shoot like McKinnon. People should admire to be like Jacob Slavin. He's an incredible player. And people should be happier to be defensive defensemen. Because if you're as good as Jacob Slavin, that is just as meaningful, or if not more meaningful, to a team to be defense wins championships. And I think Jacob Slavin does that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the goalies now. I think it's obvious this guy sucks in the playoffs, but he's the best goalie in the league. And I don't know, he just needs to figure things out here. It's Helly.
He's
Connor
healthy.
Hellebuck. Yes. Next guy, I think he deserves it too. Again, struggles in the playoffs, but a very good regular season goalie for me is Jake Ottinger. Now, again, just like Canada, it doesn't matter you throw in the third goalie. This guy's probably not going to play. In the case of the U.S., because they have so many good goalies like Swayman and Demko, they might actually play. These guys are just as good as the rest. The guy I ultimately went for, Stones Edmonton every time, Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, see, I had very similar lists. Obviously, Hellebuck, disappointing end to Four Nations, but was fantastic. He's probably the best goalie in the world, and I mean, it's really, really tight. Obviously, has shown to not get it done in the playoffs, playing on that Jets team, but he just turns into Swiss cheese for some reason. But yeah, I feel like that U.S. net is for him to lose. Once again, I say in round play, I have Ottinger second, obviously leading that Dallas team to some success. I believe they're second right now, and they've been fantastic. And third, I have Jeremy Swayman. Um, it's really up for grabs. There's so many good goalies in the U.S. system. Demko, um, for any reason, is fantastic as well. These guys are also concerned. We are also concerned about Hellebuck's health. Obviously, he's been cleared to come back quite soon, and he is back on the ice for the Jets. But this issue, as we've seen, can linger. Especially, I believe, it was on his knee. So yeah, that's a huge problem, and if that goes wrong, I mean, we've seen it with Demko. He's had nagging injuries throughout his whole career, and uh, when he's playing, he's dynamite. But that's the struggle. He's not playing all the time. So honestly, the goalie depth of the U.S. is fantastic, and really, it's really up for grabs there.
Yeah. I really like the things that you said there. I think one thing I'm just gonna close off with is the US are very interesting in terms of the way they run their system. They have the U.S. development program, which is very different than from Canada because they actually have a team that is formed together when these guys are young. And I think some of these guys have played on it as kids and they form relationships with each other as players and they build very, very good foundations in goaltending. And I think one thing Canada maybe with Canada could work on is maybe they could implement that themselves. Um, One thing is, and I'm gonna just throw it in there, is the U.S. has many, many millions more people to Canada, and there's more people playing hockey in the United States, and it's going to be harder and harder every year for Canada because we have less people, less population. And I think the thing is now people want to play hockey in the United States. So maybe we should implement this in Canada.
Yeah, no, I really get your point. I mean, U.S. National Development Program has been successful. Obviously, they've played against Team CHL and they've had success. And yeah, it's a really interesting dynamic. Obviously, two different systems. It produces a different quality of players at certain positions. But yeah, that's an interesting point. That formations and relationships and positions like this are formed from an early age and might affect how, say, the goalie system works in either of these countries.
Yeah. Other thing that's going to be interesting is we got here in a couple weeks. It's going to start up is the and Canadian and U.S. teams are going to play their young kids are going to be playing in that Christmas tournament, and almost every season Canada doesn't really have a goalie that is the guy. They have to find somebody in the pipeline, and the U.S. it's a commonality that they always have a really good goalie, and that's tough for Canada to win. And I think as the Canadian system, they need to find a way to develop some better goalie prospects. I don't know how they're going to do that, but maybe they need to find a way to do that. And I think the thing is, United States fans that are watching this video, you guys are going to have brighter days. Canada's population is the same to California. One state is the same to our entire country. You guys have 50 states, so you could times that by 50. So the moment that you guys care about this game enough and it becomes one of your main sports, you guys will be the best. And that's the last thing I'm going to say. We got anything to wrap up, Rowan?
Not a lot to wrap up. I mean, I wouldn't obviously say that it's 50 times California's population. It's obviously California is a largely populated U.S. state, but still, the point does stand. If they really do commit, it's trouble and it's dangerous. That we're gonna have to keep on fighting.
Yeah, the developments, like I said, of the U.S. development program are going to even make those chances that much better and that much greater. Well, I think that's it for our U.S. Olympic team rosters. Thank you very much for watching the video. We really appreciate all your support. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. We'd really, really appreciate it down below. And a like would be amazing. Leave us a comment too. We read all of our comments. We pin them. It makes both me and Rowan's day, or Rowan and I should say. And thank you very much for listening. And have a great rest of your day.